You know the stamp I'm talking about. You've seen it everywhere. On cereal boxes, on bread, on pretty much everything in the grain aisle. That little heart, promising that what you're about to eat is good for you. Well, today we're not just going to question that promise. We're going to dismantle it, piece by piece.
Look, this has been the official advice for, what, a generation? We were all taught to be afraid of things like red meat and saturated fats, and instead to build our diet on this foundation of so-called healthy whole grains. I mean, it's the very base of that food pyramid we all had to memorize in school.
But what if I told you that the food carrying that seal of approval is, in fact, actually rusting out your arteries from the inside? That is the exact question we are investigating today. It is time to finally pull back the curtain on a myth that has shaped modern nutrition for way too long.
All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start with the marketing illusion right there on the box. Then we'll go deeper, uncovering the biological and chemical dangers hidden inside the grain itself. From there, we'll connect those dangers to body-wide inflammation, show you exactly how that damages your arteries, and then finally, we'll reveal the real solution for lasting heart health.
So, let's kick things off with that heart-healthy label. How in the world does a product even get this certification, and what does it really mean? The answer you'll see is as simple as it is shocking.
So, here's the truth. A product only needs to be 51% whole grain to get that stamp. The other 49%? Oh, that's often just a mix of refined flour and, you guessed it, heaps of sugar. So that label isn't a guarantee of health. It's a marketing loophole, plain and simple. But this little deception, it's just the beginning. The real danger is actually coded into the grain itself.
We've all been told that whole wheat is a complex carbohydrate, right? Something that's supposed to give us slow, steady energy. But for modern wheat, that's a complete biological fantasy. The truth is hidden inside a specific molecule that acts a lot more like a bomb than a fuel source.
Okay, so modern wheat, and I mean the kind that's in virtually all the products you see on the shelf, it contains this unique starch called Amylopectin-A. Now, this is not the starch our grandparents ate. Its molecular structure is different, allowing it to be digested incredibly fast. In reality, it's a sugar bomb in disguise.
And get this, here's a direct comparison that might blow your mind. 2 slices of whole wheat bread will spike your blood sugar higher and faster than eating pure table sugar from a spoon. Just let that sink in for a second. The so-called healthy option is measurably worse for your blood sugar. And that brings us to the really critical question. What does a massive spike like that actually do inside your body?
This number right here is absolutely critical. Your entire vascular system, all your veins, all your arteries, is designed to handle only about 1 single teaspoon of sugar at any given moment. Anything more than that is essentially toxic to your cells, and especially to the delicate lining of your arteries.
And this overload sets off a really devastating chain reaction. First, that Amylopectin-A bomb goes off, flooding your blood with toxic levels of glucose. Your pancreas goes into panic mode, releasing a massive wave of insulin to try to clear it all out. Now, if you repeat this day after day, your cells just start to ignore the signal. They become insulin resistant, and that is the gateway to chronic inflammation and that dangerous fat that wraps around your organs.
But you know, that blood sugar spike is really only half the story. Even if you could somehow manage that glycemic chaos, you'd still have to deal with the chemical cocktail that modern grains are literally soaked in. You might see a non-GMO label and think, oh, I'm safe. You're not. I want you to meet glyphosate. It's the active ingredient in Roundup, and farmers don't just use it to kill weeds. They drench non-GMO wheat with it right before harvest. Why? Because it acts as a drying agent, giving them a faster, easier harvest. But here's the terrifying part. Glyphosate also holds a patent as an antibiotic. So because they use it as a drying agent, conventional wheat is just drenched in it. We're talking up to 3 times more glyphosate than you'd find on genetically modified soy. And when you eat that wheat, its antibiotic properties go to work inside you. It's like setting off an atomic bomb in your gut, wiping out your beneficial bacteria and allowing harmful pathogens to just take over. It completely devastates your body's first line of defense.
So now you have this chemical destruction of your gut, and it's being compounded by 2 natural compounds found inside the wheat itself. You put them all together, and you get a perfect storm that just dismantles your internal defenses and lights the match for body-wide inflammation.
So beyond gluten, which we all know is an inflammatory protein, there's another bad actor, wheat germ agglutinin, or WGA for short. This stuff is just as inflammatory, and it basically acts like microscopic sandpaper on the very delicate lining of your intestines, physically grinding down your gut wall.
The process here is devastatingly simple. Gluten and WGA together, they irritate and damage that gut lining, creating these microscopic holes. This is what's known as leaky gut. And through these new holes, things that should never get out, like undigested food, chemicals like glyphosate, and other toxins, they flood your bloodstream. Your immune system sees them as foreign invaders and launches a relentless full-scale attack, which results in chronic systemic inflammation.
Okay, so how does all of this, the sugar bomb, the chemical contaminant, the leaky gut, how does that connect to heart attacks and strokes? Well, this is where we uncover the true cause of heart disease.
For decades, we've been fed this really simplistic and frankly biologically false story that eating cholesterol clogs your arteries like you'd clog a drain pipe with grease. The reality is, it's so much more complex, and it has almost nothing to do with the cholesterol you eat.
See, the inside of every single one of your arteries is lined with this fragile, one-cell-thick layer called the endothelium. Think of it as the gatekeeper of your cardiovascular health. And the main threat to this lining isn't cholesterol. No, it's that constant systemic inflammation, the fire that's being fueled by blood sugar, glyphosate, and a leaky gut that burns and damages this delicate layer. And this kicks off a really dangerous cascade of events. The endothelium gets inflamed, it gets cracked and stiff. It stops producing nitric oxide, which is what keeps your arteries flexible, so your blood pressure starts to rise. Your body, in an attempt to heal itself, sends cholesterol to act as a band-aid, a kind of biological spackle to patch the damage. That patch is plaque. So you see, cholesterol isn't the cause, it's the response to the damage. Inflammation is the true villain here, and it creates the perfect environment for a deadly blood clot to form.
So if you truly want to protect your heart, you have to stop pouring gasoline on the fire. You've got to remove the things that are causing the inflammation in the first place. The solution isn't some new pill or fad diet. It's about getting back to real, nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory foods.
And this means focusing on foods that heal you, not harm you. We're talking about high-quality grass-fed proteins, wild-caught fatty fish like salmon, which is packed with anti-inflammatory omega-3s, leafy greens like arugula to help your body boost its production of that vital nitric oxide, and stable, healthy fats like extra virgin olive oil to give your arteries the building blocks they need to recover. This is how you fight the fire of inflammation right at the source.
Look, your health is ultimately in your hands, but it requires you to ignore the deceptive marketing stamped on the front of the box and really understand what's happening inside your own body. The choice to protect your heart, it doesn't begin in the pharmacy, it begins in the grocery store.
So if this explainer was as eye-opening for you as I hope it was, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button for more health truths just like this. Go ahead and like this explainer, it really helps get this information out to more people. And hey, share it with someone you know who still trusts that heart-healthy label. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments below. What was the biggest shocker for you? Was it the sugar spike, the glyphosate, or maybe the real story about cholesterol? Let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Now go take control of your health.